If you're walking through a season of pain, if you've received a diagnosis that feels like it's turned your world upside down, if you're searching for purpose in the middle of the hardest thing you've ever faced, then this episode is for you. I don't know what you're carrying right now. Maybe it's a diagnosis, the loss of someone you love, an emotional pain so deep it feels like it'll swallow you whole. Maybe it's just the quiet ache of being in a season of life you've never imagined for yourself. I want you to know this: you are not alone. This episode is my love letter to anyone who feels stuck in their suffering. I want to share with you what I've learned about pain, how what I once thought would break me become the very things that reshape me, and how it can do the same for you. This isn't a story about giving up. This is a story about stepping through. So if you're ready, take a deep breath with me. And let's begin. Welcome to Serenade to the Soul, a yoga and wellness experience. I'm your host, JackieOM. Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Serenade to the Soul, or welcome if it's your first time tuning in. I had another topic planned for today's episode, but this topic is one I feel so strongly in my bones, literally. And I know it's meant to be shared right here, right now. Today, I'm sharing my pain journey and how a very recent diagnosis has come in as a blessing to help purify my relationship to myself, my body, my soul. We've been conditioned to believe that pain is not something to sit with. It's something to swipe away, erase, shove down, mask, numb, move on. But this conditioning leads us to believe that pain is devastation. I'm here to help us unlearn this relationship with pain and to see it as an invitation to evolve, to listen more deeply, to find power in places we didn't know existed, and to love ourselves in ways we never had before. If you've ever wondered how to transform pain into purpose, fear into faith, suffering into self-love, I hope my story reminds you that you're not alone and that even here you are becoming. To preface this episode, and well, really the whole podcast, I'm going to touch on the topic of manifestation because it helps us understand how to move through our pain and discomfort, and it's directly tied to what we're trying to manifest in life. I've been doing some deep diving into the intentional practice of manifestation since the end of last year, but really set sail and became intentional at the beginning of this year. It's something I'm very passionate about, so I'll be speaking to it often during really all my episodes, I imagine. But manifestation isn't what we've been taught or what you think you know. It's not just vision boards, wishes, and waiting for the universe to hand you that glamorous life. But manifestation is clearing. It's deep, dirty, soul-level work. It's clearing the energetic baggage, the karma, the samskaras, those deeply ingrained patterns, behaviors, and loops that keep us stuck, that keep us small. Once we clear that energetic debris, then we can live our soul's mission. And here's the thing. Pain is often the force that does the clearing, the cleansing. It comes in like a divine disruptor, a tsunami if it has to break down what no longer serves us so that our hearts can expand, so our energies can magnetize, so we can align with the flow of the universe. Before we can receive and experience what we're manifesting, we must clear out the samskaras that keep us stuck in small. In the show notes, I've included a link to a podcast episode from the School of Greatness where Lewis Howes interviews David Guillaume. This episode was actually very powerful in helping me understand the actionable steps to manifest and the science of energy experiences during our personal journeys, because it's not always smooth sailing, rainbows, and butterflies. So I mentioned the beginning of this year is when I became intentional in manifestation. So New Year 2025, I set sail. And boy, oh boy, as soon as the year began, hello, pain, and all the things that are exact mirrors of the samskaras I need to clear came in immediately. I've been in and out of struggle since my late teens and early 20s on all dimensions, physical, emotional, and mental. I've had depression, eating disorders, a loss of self. Through the depths of those dark times, I am here right now at my best version of myself. But I always mention this too when I teach my yoga classes. As long as we are alive, there are always going to be things we need to work on, things we need to circle back to, lessons that we thought we graduated, but we still have some work to do. But that's a whole nother episode in and of itself. So I have an arthritic spine and neck, as well as scoliosis, and my spine has completely gone out to where I cannot walk or move. And this has happened a handful of times in my life, and it's so painful. My body has a tendency to hold ailments in my low back, hips, and ribs, and neck. And those were the familiar places where my pain would get stuck, and those sensations challenged me for years. It was just interesting how the course seemed to shift month to month, almost exactly month to month. And then a bunch of other things too, but I'm staying on the topic of pain today. Pain started shifting in new ways, out of old patterns I've been living in for years. Still pain, but it was different. So in order to stay aligned with manifesting my heart's desire, I had to watch my emotional reactions and samskaras to things that triggered the old me. One phrase I came up with to stay in the high vibration of hope and inspiration was to tell myself that my body is experiencing pain like remodeling a home, right? So if you want to change up the living space and beautify it, make it more suitable to you today, you'll probably have to do some demolition, right? Taking down the walls, restructuring the flow, even shifting where the plumbing, where you do certain things, where certain rooms are located. You got to tear down those walls to make the flow of energy more smooth, expansive, and really supportive of your soul, like a sacred space, right? So every time a new pain would come in, or my body is communicating something to me, bringing something to my consciousness, I tell myself, my body is upgrading. I trust this process, and I will hold space for my pain. Cultivating a new perspective with my relationship to pain was preparing me to hold space for what inspired this episode. So the first half of this year, my pain was new, physical ailments, manifesting my body, and other external challenges and circumstances that made me face things such as my worthiness, relationship with money and technology, relationships in my family structure, even the loss of my beloved cat, Sophie, who has just been so just a great, great love by my side since I needed her at my darkest moments. And that was rough and tough. Then around mid-year, it shifted. Specifically around the full moon in Scorpio, I think that was in the month of May. But I definitely noticed it becoming more internal, like deep, emotional, raw, soul level pain. Like a tsunami of forces rising from within me. I used to think pain was something to conquer, something to fix, something to run from. I remember feeling very angry, scared, lost, and wanting to hide what's really going on with me from my circle, my outer environment. I grieved my old life, the one where I didn't feel so heavy, so tired, so uncertain. I fought it. I wanted to stay who I was. I wanted to cling to my routines, my expectations, my illusion of control. But here's what I've learned. Pain isn't just physical or emotional or mental. It's existential. It makes us question everything. It makes us look at the world differently. It breaks down the illusions we've been living behind. In one of my workshops called Upgrade Your Life, I share this. Pain is communication. It's our soul speaking through sensation. It's our souls saying, hey, there's something right here. Look at this. Heal this, please. It's the messages from your soul shedding light on aspects of ourselves that aren't conscious, but aspects that demand addressing. The messages from our bodies are very clear and specific. The mind will get lost in a rabbit hole, trying to make sense of things and creating answers to appease momentary discomforts, even if those answers aren't our truth. I've linked a book titled Soul Speak in the show notes. You can use this book maybe as a beginning point to explore the symbolism and spirituality behind pain messages that live in our bodies. It's really useful. The way I approach the information I digest or come across is, hey, does it light my heart up? Is there, in a way, even if you're reading something like what your pain might be on a deeper level, what I mean by light your heart up is the sensations inside of you will let you know whether or not the information you're consuming serves you or don't. Soul Speak, it's a very simple and concise book, which is great. But if you're doing some really deep investigative work on what your pain messages might be, you may need to kind of play with it like a puzzle, or even get other books that are similar topics, or when you search the web. Again, just listen to the sensations of your soul, the sensations that live inside of you, to let you know whether or not that meaning applies to you, right? So, for example, when I read something as I investigate to collect, possible meanings, when I encounter an information that fits, that resonates with my soul, it feels like sparkles, like tingly, smiley sensations, and I could feel the energy of my heart expand. Taking a quick, meaningful break here. Next week on Serenade to the Soul, we're going deep into the portal through a comfy, cozy Nidra meditation. So join me for Yoga Nidra, Pain as a Portal. It'll be available on any platform where you get your podcast, as well as YouTube. It's not just relaxation. This is a journey to meet your pain, to understand its message, and to turn it into your power. Hit subscribe, set your reminders, share it with someone who needs a breakthrough. Your healing starts here, and I can't wait for you to experience it. Alrighty, let's get back to my inspiration for this episode. I'm going to talk about a diagnosis I received the day after my birthday. Well, the results actually came in on my birthday, but I didn't open them. I couldn't. There was this inner knowing in my gut that whatever was waiting for me in that portal could change everything. And I didn't want to hold that on my special day, so I waited. And then on the next day, I opened the message, and there it was, the diagnosis. 2 simple words: rheumatoid arthritis, halted me, then slowly piece by piece. It's rebuilding me into someone more powerful, more present, and more in love with life than ever before. I am going through it this year. I mean, woo! I am. But I am choosing to see everything as good. Everything supported, all necessary and right, and may I say, right on time for my up-leveling. I stood there with the fact that rheumatoid arthritis lives in my blood, and the proof is in the science. My mind immediately went, oh, great, autoimmune. And I stood there, witnessing the fluctuation of my mind, spinning around and around and around and around and around and around and around, trying to make sense and process being officially autoimmune. This whole year has felt like I'm standing in front of a massive tsunami with open arms and a brave heart rooted in my commitment to stand strong in the midst of intense elemental energies. But knowing that I have to learn to hold my own space in the most vulnerable time of my life, as the wave crashes down on me, is something so intensely beautiful. And ironically, or maybe perfectly, I'm the strongest I've ever been in my life. I see the new me in the face of struggle more than I have ever before. And yes, as I keep going back to it, it is so hard to show up. And when it comes to personal transformation, there are no days off, but also we have to show ourselves some grace. All this, it's not like a light switch flips on and ding, you're cleared and perfect, ready to go to the next stage of life. No, letting go happens layer by layer by layer, bit by bit by bit, so that we can handle the transformation. Micro steps leading to macro changes. This time, I'm not crumbling. I'm not shattering into pain. I stand here, facing the wave, trusting my strength. So I let it come, the tears, the grief, the intensity that sometimes scared even my husband, who has been witnessing me in this raw, unfiltered, watery transformation. And yes, it's lonely at times. Grief often is. That's why we have to learn to hold space for our own selves so that we don't enter lack vibration, so we sustain an abundant mindset. But I'm no longer shaming myself. Well, tidbits of shame and guilt pop in here and there, but what we have to do when we recognize the vibrations and thoughts and loops of shame and guilt is to immediately course correct, right? Accept it, don't try and bury it, and get back on track. Keep moving forward. I recognize shame and guilt when they come in because shame and guilt are the lowest vibrations that will kill in an instant any level of high vibration. So we got to watch out for shame and guilt. But I see this watery emotional transformation as not me falling back into low vibrations, but giving myself permission to grieve. Yes, grieving is necessary, right? The first step, to let it go, to make space. Grief creates the shift. It makes room. It's a cleansing. It's an opening. We got to remember that pain, whatever level of pain you're experiencing, isn't here to destroy us. It's here to transform us. Sometimes it can show up as a tsunami, a tornado, a fire, big boulders crashing down on you. But it's a clearing, a force of evolution. It is pain as a gift, pain as a coach, pain as a portal. Pain isn't a betrayal, it's an invitation, a divine invitation to love ourselves more deeply than we ever have before. I believe that if we can all do this work on transforming our relationship with pain, it is going to help elevate the human energies into our new earth, into our next stage of evolution. And how exciting is that? So I'm standing in the kitchen with the open message, processing all this information. And the overwhelming grief rose up in me, and I broke down, but not in anger. And this is the key. This was the inspiration and the catalyst of it. I broke down not in anger, not in disappointment, not in worry, but in a sincere, full-hearted apology. I am so sorry. I told myself, my body specifically, I am so sorry I betrayed you. Again, these emotions hit me like a tidal wave. I had been pushing, performing, ignoring, and numbing for so long. My body has been speaking, and I hadn't been listening. And in that moment of intense watershed, I saw her, my body, differently. Not as a broken machine, but as a tender, beautiful child who had been trying to protect me, doing her best for me, even while I'd been at war with her. Ugh. And something shifted in that moment when I was holding space for myself, my body. It was if I stepped outside of myself and saw my body differently. I didn't see her as my enemy anymore. Oh, but I saw her as my child. And in that moment, I became her mother with infinite, divine, agape love, unconditional love. I whispered once again, I'm so sorry for how I've spoken to you, for all the times I've ignored you, for how I've been treating you. And in that single moment of apologizing to my own body, something seriously cleared and changed. In approaching this experience with the heart of a mother, a reparenting of my inner child who needs so much love, tenderness, and acceptance and healing. When I look at my body as my child, I can't be angry anymore. I couldn't see her as broken anymore. I could only see her as something worth protecting, nurturing, and loving unconditionally. It healed my relationship with my body in an instant. All of a sudden, that harsh voice of my inner critic, inner hater, that has been echoing my whole life, suddenly became silent. Wow. As if the voice itself was silenced through the cataclysmic shockwave of the breakthrough, the diagnosis. Suddenly, when I look at myself in the mirror or feel discomfort in my body, it feels as if that inner critical voice has also had a cleanse. It's no longer loud, demanding, unforgiving, and critical. This is so shocking. I would have never thought that. Like the inner critic voice had realized its terror and has turned inward to also heal itself. Oh my God, so beautiful. Who'd have thought? The inner critic humbled, the inner critic silenced, the inner critic turning inward in self-assessment and reflection. This is the inspiration. Then in this silencing, in this heart space of softening what was once a raggedy, edgy cliff, I realized something. Something deeper stirred in me that I've been carrying more than my own pain. Generations of survival, ancestral karma, old wounds passed down, unspoken pain, living in my nervous system. Fuzzy, heavy frequencies that weren't even mine to carry, frequencies of fear and survival that have been living inside of me for generations. And in that moment of deep, embodied, compassionate collaboration from my conscious self and my inner critic, I felt a release, a knowing that this pain stops here. I said to myself, I will hold this, I will honor it, I will heal it, but I will not pass this pain on. Not to my children, not to anyone after me. I will hold it, I will transmute it, and I will end this cycle for my lineage. And I know I was born with this. This is part of my path. I've always felt this echoing inside of me. And when I said that clearly, I felt my body exhale. In that moment, my diagnosis became more than an end. It became a beginning, a portal. This is what I mean when I say pain is a portal, because when we stop fighting it, when we listen to it, we can alchemize it, not just for ourselves, but everyone who came before us, with us, after us, everyone all around us. Again, when we do our work, everyone around us benefits. And that's why I'm here sharing this with you, because maybe you too are carrying something heavy, and maybe it's time to stop seeing yourself as broken and start seeing yourself as worthy of that same infinite, divine mothering, divine fathering love. So let's take a pause here. I know some of you might be driving or doing chores, running errands, on the go. You can always come back to this episode for this sacred space and this, quick drop-in, a quick meditation that I'm going to call Pain as a Portal, Reparenting Our Bodies. So let's feel this together. If you're available to stop, pause, take a seat, or just close your eyes if it feels safe, place a hand on your heart. Take a deep breath in. Let it out slowly. Now imagine your body not as a problem to fix, not as an enemy, but as a little child. See your child. See your innocence. See your pure, divine beauty, your resilience. Now imagine yourself, the parent, embracing your arms around your body, your child. Infinite, divine, overflowing with agape love. Whisper, I am so sorry. I love you. I am here for you. Stay in this space for a moment, breathing, listening, holding. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Feel your feet on the ground. The sensations and vibrations of your heart, and the presence of your inner child and your eternal parent. When we stop fighting our bodies, when we stop fighting our pain, we become something more than survivors. We become healers for ourselves, for our ancestors, for the generations to come. Now, receiving the diagnosis of RA was at the pivotal point that cleared away and silenced that inner critic that was so harsh and loud in my head. But there's still work to do. I still very much, am going through the steps of healing and transmuting. Pain will come and go. It's not here to destroy us. It's here to wake us up. When we finally get quiet enough to listen, pain teaches us something. It invites us to remember a skill that we have or cultivate a new skill. It teaches us that we need to rest, that we are allowed to stop performing for worth, that self-love isn't just bubble bath and affirmations, it's radical self-acceptance, even when it feels messy and unfair. Here's what I want you to know. Your pain might be asking you to slow down. It might be asking you to let go of the old story you've been carrying. It might be asking you to tend to the parts of yourself you've been ignoring for years. And yes, this is hard, dirty work, soul level work, but it is also holy work. When we can start asking, what is pain here to teach me? We hold space for it. We don't run from it. We lean into the wisdom of its whispers instead of, why is this happening to me? And trying to blame and find an external source of problem. We've got to shift what we can control, ourselves and where our mind goes and how we can respond with love and compassion to the events that trigger us. Pain has a language, and though we often want to silence it, push it away, numb it, pain is here to speak to us, to teach us. So slow down, allow ourselves to rest. And by the way, this is what I'm working on. I'm always go, 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 unless I'm practicing yoga. This is why yoga is so beneficial. But pain asks us to rest. That worth isn't tied to productivity, and that love, real love, begins with how we care for ourselves. Yoga is really a moving manifestation practice. And in yoga, we learn how to show up in our lives. Through our yoga practice, we train our bodies, minds, and emotions at a soul level to prepare for what's to come, the challenges that life inevitably brings. When we do our work, when we reside in our center, we prepare for these future intense situations. And we are prepared to reframe pain as our teacher, to shift our perspectives, to instead of being broken, we up-level. And no matter what you've been through, there is clear research. If we take the time to reflect on what happened to us and how we reacted to it, how we process it, not through the intellect, not through our mind, but through feeling and sensing those things that replay and echo in our bodies, our memories, then we can liberate ourselves from the prison of the past. We can reduce stress, inflammation, and improve the immune system, which is, obviously I need that with autoimmune, and we all do at any level, whatever we're going through. But making sense and processing And being present for whatever we've been through can actually change the molecules of our body. The very things that can make your life difficult now suddenly can be the very things that create meaning and expansion and abundance in our lives. I'm trying not to attach to the diagnosis and attach to having rheumatoid arthritis and an autoimmune issue, which, by the way, upcoming episode with Shona Baldoni, who's an energy medicine practitioner. We talk about how identifying with diagnosis or any other conditions, whether a doctor diagnosed it or where we're self-diagnosing, it can actually bring us into that low vibration and box and sense of stuckness and smallness. So not attaching to diagnosis, but using it as a catalyst to like a name it to tame it kind of situation. Yes, identify the frustration, but and you can't change the past, but you can change the way you make sense of the past. When was the last time you looked at your body, really looked at her or him with love? Not as a project to fix, not as a reflection of how disciplined you've been, not as a vessel for what you do, but as something tender and beautiful, something you are here to protect. Pain, as much as it can hurt us, as much as it can shake us, can also really bring us something special. Remember, pain isn't a punishment. It's an invitation to try something different, to see our bodies as our child, asking for care, for listening, for love. And we don't have to heal overnight. In fact, we can't. It's not the way energy works. And we don't have to get it all right. Imperfection is perfectly fine. But it's about presence, not perfection. It's about being present and holding space and sitting with the pain. We just have to start treating ourselves with the same unconditional love we would give to a child or a best friend or a beloved pet. Because when we do that, the shame, the anger, the fear, they loosen their grip. And that's what's left, a deep, steady knowing. We aren't broken. We are becoming. If you take nothing else from this episode, take this. Your pain does not define you. It can transform you. I know this season may feel heavy, but you are not broken. You are becoming. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you breathe through the pain, instead of running from it, you are stepping into a deeper version of who you're meant to be. And this is your invitation to treat your pain not as a prison, but as a portal. Step through. The only way out is through. I used to think pain was something to conquer, something to fix, something to run from. As we all do. But pain has a way of whispering or sometimes screaming, you can't keep living the way you've been living. And eventually we're faced with a choice. We can keep resisting or we can get curious. In this mindset, pain prompts the ending of something and the beginning of something beautifully sacred. Thank you for letting me share this piece of my heart. And as we close, I want you to remember this. Your body is not your enemy. Your pain is not your punishment. You are the parent now, the mother, the father. You are the one who gets to nurture, protect, and honor this beautiful vessel that carries you through your life, helping you to fulfill your soul's mission. And every time you do, you don't just heal yourself, you heal your lineage. And that is the power of stepping through the portal. This is how we alchemize suffering and step into purpose. Treat yourself like the most beloved child in the world. Speak to yourself with love. Rest when you need to. Hold space for your pain. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who also might need this reminder that they are not alone and that their pain has a purpose and that healing is possible. If this episode stirred something inside of you, I'd love to hear what it brought up. Leave a comment, a message of reflection and review. If you're on the healing path, I am here to support you through movement, mindfulness, and more, not just through this podcast, but you can also find me on my YouTube channel and Instagram. I also have a masterclass coming up this month on August 23rd called Nourish and Replenish. You'll be soothed and nurtured in a sound bath, aromatherapy experience, and the yoga practice will be a deeply restorative yoga to nidra class. All these links are in my show notes. Let's connect together, share together, because together we thrive, together we grow. Until next time, may your pain become your portal, your heart, your home, and may you, mother, father, reparent yourself with infinite divine love. From my heart to yours, from my soul to yours. Namaste.